I see, like I said, I was trying to say before, I see a video, yeah, and it said, if, like, we're going to talk about cars, for example, yeah, but we're not really talking about cars, we're talking about cars.
I see the video.
And
lorries and that.
no, not that. He said something about if the car's got bare owners, it loses value, innit?
Yeah.
But if a man can drive bare cars, his value goes up. And he's like, at the end of it, he's like, I'm not talking about cars. So you lot, do you know what I mean?
I hear that.
You get
it? See, this is going to the age-old topic of man them want the whole experience, but they don't want the whole in it. Like, that's a fact. That's a fact. But I feel like, okay. Who's commenting next? Sir?
That's a fact though, it's a fact. You know, I don't shy away from talk. These things don't scare me. If you want to attack me, I don't care. You can't. Soon in about 3 months, you can't cancel me anymore. So I don't mind. But I just think when a lot of guys complain about these hoes, a lot of you will still be virgins if not for these hoes. So some of you need to pay homage to these hoes. You need to thank them because a lot of them had pity on you, and you will still be in your room with Vaseline and baby wipes.
What are you saying? That man them lost their virginity in a train.
You know, a lot of it is these women felt sorry for them. Man, and they gave you a chance.
My virginity story is.
Tell us.
Alright, no, do you know what? So somebody, I'm not gonna bait up who, but somebody, I remember we was like 50, I was 15 at the time, yeah. And went to link some girls in the park I think it was Wandle Park. So we must have went to Wandle Park now, yeah, bucked some girls on like a Saturday. Cool, speaking to my man now the following Friday, and he's like, yeah, had sex with my girl, bareback, lost his virginity. I was like, oh, you're nasty, you got AIDS, you're gonna die, bro. And but I was inside, I was steaming because he's younger than me, innit? So I was like, alright, cool, I got to step up the levels. So literally, it must have been outside his house one day. Somebody walks past, and I was like, yeah, she is tidy. Cool, took the number and that. And then like a week later, I was like, yeah, I love you. A week later, I said, yeah, I love you. Like, this is it. Yeah, I absolutely love you. And then, yeah, the rest is an interesting history. But yeah.
At what age did you learn consent?
I'd say in my late teens. Reason being,
that's towards 27, 28.
I said late teens. Are you alright?
No, I thought you might be just minusing the years to try to confirm that you meant like 18, 19. Sorry. I was going to confirm you meant that. Sorry.
This guy is a menace, you know. No, but on a real big serious. Run DMC. On a real big and serious. Nah, because I'm not even really trying to joke on that situation, innit? But on the topic, because I hadn't really been faced with the kind of. No, I don't want to. I hadn't been faced with that, you get me? So when I was actually faced with it, and there's a thin line, even still to this day, and like how women approach certain situations, there's a thin line, because women will have conversations, like some women will have conversations like they want their man to like wake them up, and you know what I mean, and it's a very thin line, because if that's your mentality, is it your mentality within a relationship or the guy that you're seeing persistently or consistently? It's a very thin line. But for me to go back and answer the question, late teens, because I wasn't really faced with that. And when I was faced with it, I was like, oh, okay, well then I guess we're not doing this kind of thing. So yeah.
Now what is, if you had to break it down to a 17, 18-year-old or 16-year-old who's watching this video now, in 30 seconds, how would you break down consent? No, what is consent? And we're talking consent in the fact of a boy and a girl, a man and a woman are in a bedroom or together, or even out in public. What is consent as far as you're concerned?
As far as I'm concerned, it would be having your partner's permission to continue in whatever you're trying to do.
Now, the reason why I struggle with what you're saying in essence is right, and I don't mind throwing myself under the bus. I've never ever asked a woman to suck breasts. I've never asked her permission, and I'm going to say on camera I've never asked. I've hoped that I can read the room, okay, and determine that it's okay to do it. Now I grew up in an era where we used to go raving, and the thing was that we used to kind of you used to score points on how many dances you could get. So you'd go to a rave and you say, yeah, I winded 4 girls, I winded five girls. And there was never a time when you would, and when you think about what you're doing, it's actually,
you didn't ask.
You haven't asked, and technically it is sexual assault because you're rubbing your genitals on a woman's bum and you've not asked. So you could probably put on a register for that. But we've grown up with that culture of going to a dance, you walk behind a woman, you start gyrating, and then she looks back, she either consents or she
either gives a nod of approval after her friend has given the thumbs up.
Exactly.
Or she's like, move.
Yeah, or she starts dancing forward and they start doing the Macarena, her and her friend. And then you realise that.
Or the conga slide. Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? I've never asked permission for anything sexual with a woman. I've never asked permission. So when you say getting permission, I think on paper that's what it's meant to be.
But do you know what? To further build on what I said, like this is in the heat of the moment having this, like to take time to break it down. I think you have to break it down further and you get into a bigger conversation about what that looks like, even on a how you get to that scenario. Do you see what I'm saying? Because there's
I don't play that game. You see that?
No. But that's what I'm saying. Let me finish. Because you have to, and such is the world that we live in. I don't know if we're going to talk about it or not.
We are.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
As long as everyone consents.
What's that?
To it.
No. Wait. Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about my man who did interview the other day.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, alright. Cool. So no clock.
As long as we take no L's. As long as we take no L's. I was saying, obviously, they dropped the case because it wasn't bulletproof. So I just want to just.
Can you get a third? Can you get a hat?
I need to see your notes right now.
Show
me your notes. Show me your notes.
You can save it.
But no, because one thing that he did say, I've watched the two most prevalent ones, and I hacked it to Winners Talking. Hacked it to both, but for me, the Winners Talking one was. But he made some very poignant points in there, and he said something that is like what was once perceived as office banter or what have you is now you can, like, somebody can, and I'm just repeating what he said. He's like, somebody can now be like, actually, do you know what? Way back when, do you see what I'm saying? Because as I stand here today, I remember. Look how long ago Mint Bar was open. Mint Bar's been shut for years. Bro, I remember one time I entered Mint Bar, bro, and 2 women came up to me. One was touching my arm, one was touching my chest. This is days when I used to gym more. One was touching my arm, one was touching my chest. And they were having a conversation, it was about 7 seconds. They were having a conversation about me. And I was so thrown off that I couldn't even speak. But it's like, on the flip side now, and I said this to them when like after about 30 seconds and I gathered myself, I said, on the flip side, like if I did that, it's curtains. You know what I mean? And I say that to say this, like back then, it might not have been considered as much of a big deal, whereas now, like look at the Busta Rhymes situation. Was it Busta Rhymes with the water on the woman? Yeah. I was like, well done, King. Absolutely, because you should not be fondled like that. That's mad. But and then a lot of people of that thinking, but then some people were like, why did he throw the water?
Yeah, so that.
Well, why did the waterhead touch my bum?